What's up, babe, and everybody else, and welcome back to the final episode of the Founder Academy on a game of FIFA, basically. So, the next time you guys see me, you will see me on an EAFC 24 series or episode of this series, whatever we're going to do here. So, before we jump into everything, guys, if you could hit a like down below. If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button down below. Greatly appreciate it. I know Kane the Wonder Dog also appreciates it, right, buddy? See, his ears perked up. So, yeah, so this is the final episode, guys. I was probably going to do one or two more, but like I'm thinking, all the content that's coming out is EAFC 24. Who's looking at FIFA 23 stuff? But I wanted to make a wrap-up episode. I debated on even doing this episode. I wanted to make this really quick, but I thought this was very fitting, especially when you guys see the final game. I don't want to sound negative, because actually, funny enough, I'm not a negative guy at all. I have a beautiful partner. We just had a beautiful baby. I've got this amazing dog that he drives me crazy, but I do love him. He's just the most loyal thing ever coming home, and he's always just happy to see you. So I love, I'm very fortunate to have such an incredible life, a lovely home that we live in and everything like that. So the videos that I produce, like, I hate to sound negative about really anything, but like, it's just hard to find positive stuff to celebrate in FIFA because it's just been so awful. Like, this is I still believe, guys, kind of wrapping up this series for 23, this is just the worst video game I've ever played, and I don't have there's no way to sugarcoat it. It's just really, really terrible. And like I said, you guys are going to see that with some of the gameplay that you guys are going to see today. Basically, the way we're wrapping up this series is just I showed some of the pulls that we had from packs and stuff like that. And we also did Pele. I wanted to get a big card into the squad. I didn't want to do Messi again because I did him on my last one. It takes a long time to do those SBCs. I did that Ronaldo one, which was 42 segments on my main account, and it was just, it was such a grind. It took like 2 days to do it. And I'm not just sitting there for 2 days, of course, but like it took hours and hours and hours and hours and hours, and it was just painful. I didn't love the way they did fuddies. I thought they really drew it out to try to get us on here, and look, it worked, but I don't want to condone that. I don't think that's the point of what fuddies is supposed to be. Fuddies is supposed to be like, celebrate the players and thank us for our hard earned money going into the game and our time and effort and grinding the game. It's supposed to be a customer appreciation promotion, and all they did was try to suck you onto the game and get you playing hours and hours and hours so their numbers can go up. And I just thought it was really tacky for them to do that. And yeah, I just thought it was really poor execution of EAFC 24, of FIFA 23, just to finalize it. They've really tried to monetize fuddies a lot more over the last couple of years, and I just think it's really, really lame. I would love for them to bring back the original one, but I don't think they will. Like the original fuddies, which was just all the players in packs and just 85 by 10s repeatable, and just have the drop weights higher. Like, there were some guys that I still never got. Like Mbappe, we didn't bother doing the Mbappe SBC. I bought the Team of the Season one on the main account, and we started to do them on this account, but like, look, it's the end of the year, and by the time I finished that SBC, 24, the web app is actually already out as of today, and the main game, I think the Ultimate Edition comes in like 2 days, and some people already have it, like, which is another conversation point in itself, but I'm not going to get into that. The game breakers, or whatever they want to call those, the loyalists, the EA apologists, the ones that they think promote pack buying and stuff like that the most, those guys are getting free copies of the game early, which is, it is what it is, while the rest of us have to go out and buy it, which is really lame. But again, it is what it is. My issue with EAFC 24, guys, and again, I'm sorry for sounding negative, is just, I don't think I've ever been less excited about a game. I don't love the launches of new games, period, anyway, just because we spent so much time grinding into this game, and now it's just reset. But this year, more than ever, I was expecting such big things because it's like a new game. There's no FIFA restriction on it. It's literally just EA having some free reign, with the exception of, I think, the FIFA Pro license. But they don't have FIFA, the governing body, to worry about anymore, and they could have done anything, and they've done nothing. Like, tell me one change with the game other than just the name. The name is the biggest change, and like, it doesn't even matter. So I've said EAFC 24 is basically FIFA 23.5. It's literally all it is. It's the exact same game modes. It's the exact same engine. Morale is still going to be in it. I guarantee you, the first time we play it. And I'm just praying for them to rebuild it. If they rebuilt this game, that would be all they'd be talking about. They would say it's the biggest game ever, and it's like that producer came out 2 months ago or whatever. It's like, this is going to be the biggest changes ever in EA football history or FIFA history or whatever. Like, what have they changed? Like, what have they changed at all? Division Rivals is the same. FUT Champs is exactly the same. Nothing has changed, okay? The gameplay is almost literally exactly the same. Like Hyper Motion 2.0 and all this other garbage. That stuff's irrelevant because when your team loses and they get handicapped because of the morale that's in the game, it doesn't matter because Hyper Motion goes out the window. All of that stuff breaks because the animations break, because the dynamic difficulty changes the sliders and your players start stuttering and doing stupid shit in order to have your players get impacted by morale. It's the exact same thing that has happened for year and year and year and year and year after year. It's just absolutely wild to me that they have the audacity to say every single year, this is going to be so big. And I don't want to name any names because I don't like calling anybody out, but I was watching a famous streamer or content creator who just is always buying packs in one of his series, like not even a series, just basically almost all of his videos are just like pack openings and sharing and stuff like that. And that's all this game has become. It's literally just people, it's content creators and people wanting to be on content creators channels by saying like, hey, let's do share plays of pack openings. But like nobody wants to play the game. So it's really sad to me because I used to love playing this. But the game is so broken, man, and it's been broken for years and years and years that it's painful to play. And EAFC 24 is the exact same way. I was watching some of the early gameplay from yesterday when a couple of the content creators got the game early. It looks exactly the same. It literally looks like they just took FIFA 23, put a new package on it, and gave it to them again and reset their team. So they're just like, here you go. And it's literally pumping. It's like putting in a new account without any of the cool cards in the game. It's really just all it is. It's just a roster update, right? Like this game is exactly the same. And again, I'm sorry guys for sounding so negative, but I'm having a hard time finding anything positive to talk about. Like what is there to talk about that's positive in it? I bet most people can't even tell you what a hyper motion is. Like claim all button, is that something to talk about? I don't know. Like maybe it is. But it's just, I don't know. I've been watching, the updates and stuff like that, and they don't have anything to talk about because there's nothing to talk about until they rebuild this game from scratch. There's literally nothing to talk about. So it's unfortunate, but that's what's going on. Is like I hate having to reset the squads. I don't think gold cards are very exciting. I like the addition of females in the game. I don't think it's necessarily something I was craving, but at the same time I think it's adds a little bit more depth. There's a couple of the female cards that look really, really good. If anything, they actually look better than a lot of the men's cards, which is fine. They deserve their time in the sun too. And there's a couple of the female cards that I have my eye on that I think are going to be really, really cool cards. You guys will see that once we actually start the series. I didn't want to jump into the web app quite yet. I want to make sure that we've got like real content, not just web app stuff. I don't think web app is super exciting. I know people are like chomping at the bit to get their hands on the game, but it's really just because they want something new, and a lot of people have just been sucked in by EA's marketing, like brand new EA FC 24. But really, like guys, let's be real. Call a spade a spade. This is EA FC 23.5, or FIFA 23.5. There's nothing new in this game. Anyway, so this game that we're playing, this was a really interesting one, guys. I have never played a game in my life where it forced goals to a person as badly as this. And like, look, I don't pretend to be the world's greatest FIFA player. I know I have a very high opinion of myself in terms of FIFA, but I know where I stand. I know where I'm at. I'm probably about a Division 3 player, somewhere in there, maybe a Division 2 guy. We didn't get that far with this account just because I didn't play it long enough, but look, we're having a pretty easy time with a lot of these games. Even if they're not easy, I'm still grinding out these victories. And you can tell by the opponent, the way they dive into tackles. Like, they're not the world's greatest opponent. They're fine. They're serviceable, but they're in the division that they should be in, right? But, like, if you guys watch the gameplay here, like, it was just wild, right? The type of stuff that was happening in this game. And you're going to go back and see some of the goals here. But like the second one that this guy ended up scoring was probably the most forced goal I've ever seen in my life. That third one, I went to the byline. That guy was just coming at me in waves. And I went to the byline hoping he would just tackle me out of bounds. But it knocked my guy out of bounds and kept the ball. But this is the goal that really drove me crazy. Like, watch the swinging here by Diassi. Look at him in the back. Swing, swing, swings to the back of him. And then he takes a really bad shot, and my keeper forces the ball into the net. Like, that's just dynamic difficulty in its purest form, right? Like, that's just literally just the dynamic difficulty of my defense, my goaltending, everything. It was forcing goals to this guy, and he wasn't a fantastic player. It was just, I couldn't even tell you what the reason for that was. But look, the goals that we scored, we had to play against the handicap there. But I've said this so many times, and people can say whatever they want about my opinion of this. But look, I've literally played this game since its inception in 2009, right? Like, what is that, 15 years of Ultimate Team? We're going into the 16th year. I've played more Ultimate Team than almost anybody on the planet, right? And I'm not saying that to sound conceited, but like, literally I played this in its testing phase, the original Ultimate Team in its testing phase. Okay, I'm not saying I played more games than everybody, but I played a lot. I've played for a really long time, so it's not like I don't know what I'm talking about here. Like, the dynamic difficulty in this game is what makes it shitty, right? Like, I've constantly wanted to try playing other games, but I watch eFootball, but eFootball is just not very responsive. It's very clunky, the animations. It looks like there's lag with it. It just doesn't look like a very fun, responsive game that you can play online very well. I might be wrong with that. To me, it's not all about the licenses. I think the licenses help a lot, but at the same time, FIFA, when it's flowing, when your team is playing on full morale, like, if your team's playing at its absolute highest potential and your opponent's playing, it could be a really fun game. But it's just riddled with the old game engine and all that old coding that fucks it all up. That's all it is. And EA, I've said this for so many years, rewrite the game. Like, just remove all that shit, because if you did that, this game would be fine. If every time you went into a game it was just a fresh start and your team was playing on its full potential, no problem, okay? Because your opponent, by using its tactics, by using whatever skill level is, you'd be able to figure out who the best player was. But instead, constantly you're playing someone who's getting an advantage and another person who's got a disadvantage, and it's like, so many games I've had to play where I've had to win with a handicap. Like, I'm getting handicapped so badly, but I've still managed to win the game. And I'm not saying that to pat myself on the back, but it's just, I've had games where I'm getting the handicap in my favor and I've just killed people, right? And that's just the way it is. This game here, these are the last two games you guys are going to see. I want you guys to see, this is probably the most fitting way for me to end my FIFA reign, I guess, or FIFA experience for whatever 15 years of the FIFA license in Ultimate Team. This has to be the most fitting game I've ever seen. Okay, so it's going to be two games. This is the first game we played. It was against 6 Club 9 or whatever the guy called his team. So we're up against this guy. As you guys can see, his team is getting affected. Those are pretty lame looking goals. I'm grinding out these goals, but like, I know how my team is playing. I know how this guy's playing. He was a decent little player, but as you guys can see here, he misses a tackle, even though I did a nice scoop turn. His defender probably should have got a block on that, but we're up 4-0, right? 4-0 in the 61st minute. After that, this guy paused the game and he went ultra attacking. Now just watch the way his team is playing. He's down 4-0. Look at my defenders, the way they're not tracking runs, and they just started swinging. The rest of this game, guys, I'm not even exaggerating this, I could not control my players. They were so wild. It was incredible. Okay, and I'm not saying that to just make up an excuse here. This was literally night and day. Whatever this guy did with his tactics, even though I dove in the right place there, he still smashes it into the net. Even though like, it's the exact same player that I'm playing, I just couldn't control. Look at those bounces. Just shoots it, bounces off two of my guys straight to him, and he volleys it straight into the net. Like, it was absolutely wild. Look at that touch. Look at the displacement. Look at the swinging. Absolutely wild stuff. That was going on for the last 30 minutes. I could not control this. Normally, I pride myself being able to, look at that. Another tackle, displace, and he fires into the net and ties it 4-4. Normally, I pride myself on being able to grind out games. I could not even touch the ball. I was barely holding on by the end of this because of whatever this guy's tactic change was. Just night and day. That last one, the ball gets headed out from whatever my defender, goes straight to Ronaldo. Couldn't even control Ronaldo before he gets before he goes into the physical tackle, displaces 3 feet, and the guy's got the ball and he fires it into the net. I couldn't stop that. Literally could not stop that if I did anything. Okay, so ends 4-4. I'm very frustrated by that. Literally I jumped right back into another game. The exact same guy. Okay, literally the exact same guy. If you go back and watch it, the exact same player. Watch the result of this game, okay? Now, remember what I've told you guys about morale. When you draw or you lose, your team's morale goes down. I don't know what this guy's last result was prior to it. I wouldn't be surprised if this guy had a loss or a draw in the game prior to the game he played against me, the last one. But whatever happened in that last game, on top of the fact that we both drew, so both of our teams get negatively impacted, this guy's team could not control them. Like, look at my players. They're doing those kind of wobbly type runs to the ball. Night and day here, right? And even though my team is still getting moraled, this guy could not control his players. Like, look at the dumb shots that I'm taking. Forces the shot onto Touré's left. He lobs it up and back down into the net. This guy had no chance. None at all. It was just onslaught, right? Even if I made mistakes, the ball was forcing itself back to me, and I was just coming at him in waves. And like, look, don't get me wrong, I love being able to beat this guy, but at the same time, this is a guy that I just drew 4-4. Okay, and you guys are gonna see by the result, like, there's no way, like, this guy's not a terrible player. He's moving his players okay. He's moving his keeper. Like, he's not a terrible player by any means, but he just could not control his players. And if you're telling me that this is the same guy that I just drew and the results are that far different when we played each other literally right back to back, you're telling me that all of a sudden he just became a bad player and now he's down 7-0 after 37 in-game minutes? He's down 7-0, guys. Okay, let's make that 8. He's moving keeper. He's thinking that I'm going to go cross goal. He can't stop this. It's just an onslaught, right? So you tell me what are the differences, right? 4-4 game, and then the next game, I'm going to spoiler alert this, okay? We ended up winning 15-0, but he ended up scoring an own goal. One of those ones where I guess he just got frustrated and kicked it back. But we pumped 14 goals against this guy. 14 goals. And look, he wasn't sitting there screwing around. He was trying to score goals, okay? And I'm not trying to rub that in, but like, as you guys can see, he's trying to stop these wave after wave after wave of attack. He couldn't stop it at all. 14 goals he scored against this guy. I couldn't stop scoring. Well, I mean, I could have, but like, I just wanted to see like where this was going to go. After about the first 4 or 5, I was like, I can't stop it, because as you guys can see, he's going to change his tactics and he's going to come at me at waves again, which he did. But his team was so far down so far in the mud, he couldn't get out of it. Right? It was just wave after wave after wave. As you guys can see, off kickoffs, he's trying to come at me. He's trying to stop goals from going in. He's charging his keeper out. He can't stop it. Like, look at his players. They're not blocking anything. They're not stopping anything. They're literally right side by side with me, and they're just doing dumb stuff. They're not putting in a block or anything. 4-4 and 15-0. Okay, and if you're telling me that that's a gauge of how competitive we are as opponents, I would say that shows you just how broken this game is. Like, this is a fucked up mess, this game, because there's no way that you should tie a guy 4-4 and he plays the exact same way. In the next game, I beat him 15-0. Like, to me, this is the most perfect example of where FIFA is, and EAFC 24 and whatever, as a state. The state of this game. It's a total embarrassment. Like, look at how poorly this is programmed, man. 14 goals I pumped against this guy. I know he keeps saying that, but like, I don't think I've beaten anybody that much. Because he drew one game, he can't control his team in the next game. Like, I felt bad for him because he wasn't even a bad player. He wasn't even the worst player we played in this video, but he just could not stop these waves. And like, I was just hitting shoot, balls were flying in, they were bouncing off his defenders. He couldn't control. He couldn't even make passes, right? Simple passes. His players look like they're just, look at that. They're falling over each other. They're not stopping anything. Look at this goal right here by Dybala at the end. Even Kane's getting excited here. But like, this is the type of goal that just infuriates me, right? Like, Dybala shot back towards the middle of the goal, and Marquinhos just does one of these, and the ball goes right by his foot. Like, that's the type of stuff that EA should be ashamed of themselves for. Like, it's embarrassing that they're letting that type of stuff happen, right? Because those types of goals are the ones where you're 3-3 and someone scores that BS and they end up winning 4-3. And that's the stuff that affects you in a foot champions game. They're trying to make this a competitive game. Look at that. Look at the indirect running. My team's still being impacted by that garbage, and I still put 15 past this guy. Like, it's just such a broken mess of a game. But anyway, guys, I wish I could end on a more positive note, but that's going to be the end of the series, guys. We'll jump back in about a week when we've got EAFC 24. I hope you guys all have really good pack luck, and I look forward to seeing you next year, I guess. All right? Until next time, guys, take care. Peace.